Mod RC. Just finished doing some upgrades to the Gen 9, so I pulled out the Injora silicone inserts and I put in Proline dual stage foams. Then I used the inserts in the factory Gen 7 wheels and tires that I had. I think they just fit better in there. Those, I think, tires are just a little narrower, and I think they just work better. And then, if I didn't mention in a previous video, I had already switched to a 20-weight shock oil, just because I like the way it worked in my Gen 7. I figured I'd try it in this, and I do like how it makes the shocks react quicker. But there's just a lot of body roll in this Gen 9, and to me, it just seems like maybe the springs were just a little too soft. So instead of buying new shocks, I decided to try the Injora spring set. So it comes with 5 different colors springs. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell you which ones are the softest and which ones are the firmest. You kind of just have to guess. So to me, it looks like maybe the black springs are the softest, followed by the white, followed by, I think, the blue, and then the yellow. I couldn't tell a whole lot of difference between those two, but I think that's the order. And then the red, I didn't even try the reds. They just look like they were the thickest wire, so I'm assuming they should be the firmest spring. But I had the blues on, and then with the body, when you set the vehicle down, it didn't even budge at all. But it didn't seem like it was overly stiff with those springs. However, I wanted to relax a little bit when I set the vehicle down, so I went down to the whites, and it does just that. So when you set the vehicle down, it relaxes just a little bit, maybe like a millimeter or two. It still has good articulation, but just I think it's going to take out some of that body roll. Hopefully, I think it's just going to work better for my purposes here. So, and it bounces back to almost its ride height as opposed to kind of just drooping with the factory springs. One thing to note, and I have a factory spring on the left, the black one, then Injora on the right, which is the blue. So as you can see, the Injora spring is about a 1/2 inch shorter, and they're slightly smaller in diameter, so they don't just slide onto the shock. You just have to kind of work the top and bottom on, but it doesn't take much effort, and they fit just fine, and everything works just fine. But just something to note. But I think I'll be happy with the way it is, and it's nice the springs aren't that expensive, and it gives you some tunability there. You can always run different color combinations on it too if you need something a little stiffer up front or in the rear or whatever you want to do. So I'll have to get it out in the rocks to see how it does. And then I also added action figure. So I got Keanu there driving for me. I didn't want to chop him up because he's expensive, and I didn't have anything to use, so I had to buy something. So I just have him wedged in there, and I took him out for a little test drive a while ago before I did the insert and shock upgrade, and he didn't budge, so he's kind of just wedged in there, and I think it'll work out fine. Mod RC out with the Gen 9 with the first run with these new springs. I have Keanu behind the wheel.
was my fault there. I'm trying to watch the camera and zoom in and out, not paying attention to what I'm doing. All right, let me leave the camera alone and try this again. All right, I think that worked out well. Still get good articulation and does everything it needs to do on these rocks. And I noticed driving on a different spot here, just a small grass hill, doing a little bit of side hilling. It made it through a turn that it never made it through before. I think just so much body roll because the body's so heavy on this thing with these springs definitely helped out. Our motor seat back got a little Keanu behind the wheel again here. He wants another crack at it. Since the last run he rolled it and got pushed out of his seat. All right, got a little sketchy there for a second, but little Keanu redeemed himself.